Hello. This lesson we will just watch the stories, okay? Watch some stories. No exercises. Just we will watch some stories. Let's start.
Are you ready for a story? A true story? Great! This story is called Caring for Elephant Orphans. Elephants in Africa are in trouble. People are taking over the elephants' land. There's often not enough water for the elephants. Hunters kill lots of elephants. Because of these problems, many baby elephants lose their families and become orphans. But at a special place in Kenya, the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, people help, protect and take care of orphan elephants. When baby elephants arrive at the orphanage, they are usually scared. But other orphans want to help. They put their trunks on the new elephant. This seems to make the new elephant feel better. The elephants and their keepers become very close. In fact, the keepers become like mothers to the elephants. The elephants often cuddle their keepers. The elephants have a regular routine. They always get up at 5:30. Then the keepers take them to the forest and the elephants play with each other and with their keepers. The elephants often have mud baths during the day. They enjoy their mud baths. The baths clean off bugs. The mud also protects the elephants from the sun. The keepers feed the elephants every 3 hours throughout the day. At about 6 o'clock, the baby elephants come back to the orphanage. They drink very large bottles of milk. After that, the keepers put them to bed. At night, the keepers sleep next to the elephants. Baby elephants often cry when they're left alone. Every 3 hours, the elephants wake up the keepers for milk. The keepers take care of the elephants for a long time. Then, usually when the elephants are about 5 to 7 years old, they are ready to go back into the wild. The elephants often come back to visit the keepers. Sometimes they come for help when they're hurt. Sometimes they come to show their new babies. And sometimes they just come to say, hello. The end.
Okay, the end. So now let's watch second story.
Are you ready for a story? Let's read. This story is called Country Mouse Visits City Mouse. One day, Country Mouse gets a phone call from his cousin, City Mouse. City Mouse says, "Cousin, please come and visit me." "Okay," says Country Mouse. "I will walk to your house. Can you give me directions, please?" "You can't walk to Paris," says City Mouse. "You have to go by train." Country Mouse arrives at the train station. He is in the city. Everything is so big. "Excuse me," he says to a police officer. "Can you please help me find my cousin?" "Country Mouse, welcome to Paris," says City Mouse. "There are so many things to do. Let's go to the museum first." At the museum, Country Mouse says, "There are so many beautiful paintings in this museum. There aren't any museums near my home." City Mouse says, "Now let's go to the library." "Your library has got so many books. I only have one bookshelf at home," says Country Mouse. "I'm hungry," says City Mouse. "Let's go to the bakery." "What delicious bread. I make my own bread at home," says Country Mouse. "Let's have a picnic in the park," says City Mouse. "I like this park," says Country Mouse. "It's so green. It makes me think of my home." A few minutes later, Country Mouse says, "I think it's time for me to go home." "I love your city," says Country Mouse. "Let's visit each other again soon. Next time, please come and visit me in the country." "Okay," says City Mouse. "Goodbye, cousin." Country Mouse likes the city, but he is happy to be home. His home isn't big or fancy, but it is his home and he loves it. The end.
Okay, third story. Ready, go.
Hello, everybody. It's story time. Are you ready for a story? Good! This story is called Getting to School Around the World. People in different places get to school in different ways. Some areas have lots of roads. Children in these areas often go to school by car, like these students in Mexico. Another way children in these areas can get to school is by bus, like these students in the United States. Many people live in places surrounded by water. In these areas, children don't get to school by car. They get there by boat, like these children in Malaysia. Some areas flood when there is a lot of rain. How do children in these areas get to school? They get there by boat, like these children in Botswana. In some areas, there may not be many good roads. Some families do not have cars and there may not be many buses. Many children in these areas go to school on foot, like these children
On foot. On foot means by walking, yürüyerek, right?
in the countryside of India. In some areas, children may walk an hour or more to get to school, like these children in Kenya. Some cities and towns have very crowded roads, but this doesn't stop children from getting to school. In Tokyo, the capital of Japan, the streets are very crowded, but students can get to school easily by train. In parts of Vietnam, many students get to school by bicycle and scooter. Some places are very snowy. It can be difficult to travel by car or by bus on snowy roads. Many Inuit children in Canada ride snowmobiles to school. Children get to school in different ways all around the world. How do you get to school? The end.
Okay, story 4.
Are you ready for today's story? Well, this story is called The Four Blind Men, and it's based on a folk tale from India. Let's begin. One morning, 4 blind men are walking through the jungle. They cannot see the beautiful trees, but they can hear them in the wind. They cannot see the wonderful flowers, but they can smell them. Suddenly, the men hear a strange sound. Something is in front of them. What is it? The first blind man puts out his hands and touches something. It feels long and strong. It wraps around his arm like a snake. It's a snake, says the man. The second blind man puts out his hands and touches something. It's thin. It feels like a rope. Aha, says this man. It's a rope. The third blind man puts out his hand and touches something. It feels tall and round. This feels like the tree next to my house, says the man. It's a tree. The fourth blind man puts out his hands and touches something. It feels hard and rough. This feels like a wall, says the man. It's a house. The blind men start to argue. It's a snake, says the first blind man. No, it's a rope, says the second blind man. You are both wrong, says the third blind man. It's a tree. No, it's a house, says the fourth blind man. What is it? Ask all the blind men. Suddenly, the 4 blind men hear a loud sound. Aha! They all say. We know that sound. It sounds like an elephant. It is an elephant, the blind men say. We were all wrong. Now they know that 4 people can see the same thing in different ways. The end.
Okay, that's all for today. Bye bye.